Today we're going to talk about a really fun concept with a funny character that we think is relatable to all of you out there, named Johnny Ponytail. Now, we may have not come up with the concept of this character, but we definitely can relate him to most of you business owners out there. So Dan and I, we're going to talk a little bit, go back and forth, share some funny conversation about what Johnny Ponytail represents and the type of IT guys that align with Johnny Ponytail. And then we're going to talk about the difference of what you should be expecting and where Silicon Plains falls into the mix.
Right. So Johnny Ponytail is one of those things that I heard about at a conference, probably, I bet you it was 5, maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And one of the speakers was talking about how to help managed service providers, IT companies like Silicon Plains, be better at managing themselves. And he came up with this concept of Johnny Ponytail. And Johnny Ponytail is the guy that we're all used to growing up with and that we knew about as the IT guy, especially in like the early 2000s, where he shows up with his Camaro and a backpack when you call, and maybe he shows up, but when he does show up, you know, he's maybe not the most professional person, comes running into the building, he might be on time, he might be early, he might be late, he runs around and makes everybody mad, you're not even sure if he fixed the problem, and then he leaves and he bills you incorrectly. So the reason that I wanted to talk about it and that I think it's important for people to get it, what we do isn't super exciting. We're not building cars, you know, we're not developing rockets. There's so many things about what we do though that support every one of those types of activities and we're vital.
Yep.
And we want to make sure that there's a difference in people's minds between the idea of Johnny Ponytail and Silicon Plains, because it's 100% why I started the company.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think the typical Johnny Ponytail, that's pretty much what everybody thinks when they think about IT. They're like, why would I want to deal with this crap? I don't want some guy with a ponytail and a beat up t-shirt, you know, with a backpack coming in just saying, hey man, you know, can I fix your IT? And then, you know, he comes, he bills you, and then he leaves, and then he only shows up when shit breaks. And so we don't really want people to associate Johnny Ponytail with the way IT should be done, but yet it's kind of that common concept that people are used to. We want to kind of try to break up that stigma a little bit and just show you what you should be looking for and how things are done now, because it's surely different than the Johnny Ponytail way of the past.
Well, I think that businesses are, you know, it's kind of a way to compare whether or not you're maybe doing things right and have been, you know, paying good attention to what your options are out in the industry when it comes to making sure your business has the support it needs and the foresight and the proactiveness that it needs to make sure that IT is predictable. And you know, the Johnny Ponytail concept, it's not about predictability in any way, shape, or form. So you've got two types of companies, right? You got company A, and those businesses are used to having, you know, my nephew's sister's cousin's husband's wife's daughter-in-law knows something about an iPad, and that's where, you know, we call them, and then every once in a while they show up whenever we're having a problem after, you know, the guy we have running our front desk tried to fix it himself after I yelled at him, and then he called his cousin's husband's nephew's daughter's
Cousin's
grandpa,
friend,
and after everything was incredibly on fire, just horrible, we called this person to see if they could come in and fix it, right? It's the worst, and everyone has worked for companies like this, or God forbid, maybe you're dealing with that right now, and that's the way that things work for you. You know, you're like, best case scenario, you know, we call and they show up. That's like the best performance you could possibly get. And so that's the Johnny Ponytail experience. It truly is. On the flip side, it's none of those things happen.
Yeah, right. You don't have to deal with any of that crap.
No,
exactly.
You do not have to deal with any of it.
Yeah. If you're enjoying this video so far, give us a like below and subscribe to our channel for more weekly content like this. Okay, I want to ask you a quick question, Dan. I want to give our audience a little bit of a scenario. So one scenario today, what would a Johnny Ponytail scenario look like, and what should you expect instead? So we're going to talk about something breaks and you got to call your IT provider. Right. Dan, can you give me an example of what a Johnny Ponytail provider would do versus what Silicon Plains would do?
This might hit close to home because I think I might have used to be a Johnny Ponytail.
I was going to say, you look like you used to have hair at one point.
I did used to have hair. I used
may
to
have had a ponytail
run around and
sometime.
hope that everything was on fire because it was so fun to solve problems. So if we talk about just in the like containing the subject of what we're going to talk about, right? We stick to what it's like when you call, because that's kind of everybody's, you know, core experience with IT, and especially support, is you've got to call and get somebody to help you. So the Johnny Ponytail experience that a lot of people can relate to is you call somebody, you call your person. It's a guy, it's a gal, it's somebody. Maybe they do or don't have a full-time job. So maybe you can call them 8 to 5 and maybe they answer. Maybe you can't. Maybe they only show up after hours. And so you call and you're calling a cell phone. That's major red flag. You're calling a cell phone. Johnny Ponytail's cell phone rings and maybe they're already doing something else. But if they are, you're not getting an answer and you're getting an answer later. They're not answering the telephone to help you when you're having the problem. They're going to call you back later when you're doing other things, and you have to get back into it. It's like you're tripling down on the time wasted for everybody, right? And so on the Silicon Plains side of things, when it comes to managed services and the way that we run our network operations center, when you call, there's 12 people ready to go who not only well, I'm going to back up for a second. When you call us, you completely skip any kind of, call tree or IVR type voice response thing. There's no front desk person. We don't have a dispatcher. When you call, you get our NOC, our Network Operations Center. People sitting up there waiting for the phone to ring or for an email to come in or a problem to happen that they get to see on one of the big TVs, which we'll show in another episode. So when you call us, Johnny Ponytail, maybe you call a cell phone, maybe the answer, you call us and there's at least 12 people available to you who are going to answer the phone within a couple of rings and be ready and able to jump onto your computer within, give or take, 15 or 20 seconds. It's a huge difference. On top of that, these people have access to all the documentation that's ever been recorded since the beginning of time for your company and sometimes for you personally. And they can not only see exactly what you're dealing with when you're moving your mouse, they can see everything. They can also look up what's happened to your computer in the past to see if this is maybe some sort of recurring problem. And so it goes from kind of a witch doctor experience, the Johnny Ponytail thing, to an actual physician style experience where they can look up your medical record and figure out if this is maybe a chronic problem.
Right.
And deal with it on the spot.
That's a huge difference. So, I mean, when you're calling, remember there's 3 things. 1, you want to make sure that you're always calling a business, not a cell phone. You're talking to the actual business. 2, you're actually connecting with service technicians that are the ones who will be fixing your problem. You're not talking to somebody else first. The first person that picks up that phone is the person that's going to fix the problem. And then 3, they actually have remedies available for your company that can date back for as far as your company history goes that they can look at to tell you exactly what is the problem and exactly how they're going to remedy it. So if you're looking for those 3 things, make sure that you're calling a business, make sure you're directly contacting the person fixing the problem, and make sure they have the remedies available with all of the prior history from your company. If you do those 3 things right, you're gonna make sure you guarantee to avoid the Johnny Ponytail experience.
That's right. It's gonna be so much better.
Awesome. All right, Dan.
I'm looking forward to more Johnny Ponytail stories.
I am too. You know what I'm really looking forward to though? Is I'm looking forward to these credits going where we just, tap the papers a little bit like this and just say bad words to each other. Like Dan